You're live.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Action for Assange Vigil. What the hell week are we in, fam? 69. Sorry.
69.
69. See, I'm starting off great already, you guys. I've already messed it up. But before we get started with our guest tonight, I just want to go over the numbers for this week. There are 3,614 days of illegal and arbitrary detention for Julian Assange. 568 days since WikiLeaks founder was trafficked from the Ecuadorian embassy after being sold to the United Kingdom for the $4.2 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund. There's 68 days until Vanessa Baraitser's decision is given on January 4th. We are up to 1,239 days of federal incarceration for Reality Winner. And our little, we might have a little other ray of sunshine, but there's 225 days of freedom for Chelsea Manning. And we just found out that Jeremy Hammond should be getting released next month into Halfway House, I think, if that's correct. So that's another little, tick in the positive box. So I'm looking forward to him getting out. So that's where we stand right now. And I am going to throw it over to Steve to introduce our amazing guest.
Thank you. Joining us this evening is the founder of the Mexico for Julian chapter out of Mexico City. Jesus, I'm doing fucking great tonight too. And they said I was going to give you a good introduction, Dad. And all this was built up and all
Too
this
much pressure.
And I don't know.
We're doing it live.
Natalia Rivera, Scott, it is so wonderful to see you again. And how are you today?
Thank you so much for inviting me again. It's always wonderful to be here, and I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Man, I'm getting by. It's been a rough, I don't know, 20 years. But so you're here because behind the scenes you have been doing some really, really wonderful things for a human being that we all love. And I know that there have been a number of people over the last several months who have reached out to me out of concern. And if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, we're talking about Commander X at this moment. So please, Nat, fill us in on what's going on with X.
Well, I've been helping him to relocate to a much better place and taking care of many needs that he has right now, especially medical needs. And we are like checking on him and his dogs and just making sure he's fine. So
for all the white people in the audience, how are the dogs?
The dogs are great. There are two small dogs, and one is called Sander, and the other one is called Xavi, and because he chose the X names for them. So he really laughs because here in Mexico, Xavi it's Javier. So people call the little dog Javier, and he's just like, no, it's with X, it's Javi. But well, here everyone calls him Javier. And so he's really caring for his dogs, and the main concern that he had all this time here in Mexico was these little dogs that he rescued and adopted here. So he's really doing fine.
I'm really glad to hear that. We have a statement from X, and I'll go ahead and pull that up and get on it. I should probably share this on the screen share, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and please ask whatever you want to ask about that.
I got it. All right, let me full screen here. All right, so X says to all of my dear supporters and fans, greetings. As many of you are no doubt aware, early this summer, I quite suddenly and without warning stepped off the stage and departed public life completely. I'm unwilling to share the details of why this became necessary, but after a series of calamities involving both my health and the loss of most of my computer gear and data, it was either stop or die. I chose stop. The decision, no doubt, bought me at least a little more time on this mortal coil, and that is precious to me. Over the past decade, fate, history, and all of you have bestowed great power and prestige upon me. I am no longer in a position to be able to trust myself to do the right thing with that gift. I feel it is better to step down now rather than squander the great gifts bestowed upon me by thousands of souls around the world. I would rather have you all remember me as I was than have you see me as I now am. Commander X has become more than me, more than a persona. He became a symbol of the global fight for freedom, justice, and good. As a parting gift to all of you, there will soon be released a full-length major motion picture documentary entitled X, The Face of Anonymous. It will be broadcast on several major networks around the world and eventually available in select theaters and on DVD. I have attached the official movie poster to my Twitter. If somebody wants to go grab that, that would be cool. I pray that it will not only show me at my best, but might inspire others to step forward and work for a better world. Details regarding this movie will be available on the Commander X Twitter account. I have turned over Commander X Twitter and other social media accounts to Natalia Rivera Scott, who has formed an ad hoc organization of Mexican citizens simply called the Friends of X Committee. They will use these accounts to keep you informed on the documentary and other future media projects from those who wish to portray my life and work in mainstream media. Please give them respect in this. The haters have nothing to gain from trolling these accounts, as I never access them anymore. Please do not send personal messages to these accounts via DMs unless you want Nat and her team to read them. Nat and her small group firmly believe they can get medical help for me and reverse the various conditions that are slowly but steadily robbing me of my life. Perhaps they are correct in this. I am less convinced this is possible. I feel that I am very near the end of my journey. As such, when faced with one's own mortality and the cessation of existence on this plane, I must set aside the things of this world and focus on that very final moment when we depart this life. I have things I need to do, reckonings deeply personal that must be made, and I have my two beautiful dogs with whom I wish to spend my final days if that is what they are. I will not be returning to public life. That part of my story has come to an end. I do not apologize for my choices, recent or otherwise. I gave this world almost 4 decades of activism, the final 10 years to that wonderful movement called Anonymous, which I am most proud to have had a hand in actually creating. No one can demand more of me. I gave the best I had to give. I do not owe anyone anything, but I will miss you all. You all have been the most wonderful part of this incredible adventure. I think about you constantly. I worry over your fate, hope fervently for your successes. Do not be sad for me. I have led the most incredible and surreal life imaginable. I have no regrets. Despite the many hardships and huge sacrifices, I would gladly do it all again. Be strong. Keep fighting. You will win. With all my heart, X.
And I have, I'll share it real quick, that the logo for his movie.
It's very nice, right?
That's awesome.
I really liked it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And he's really happy about that.
I'll put the link to that in chat for everybody too.
Okay, so the thing is that, remember, he was missing, and then I found him, and that's when he explained basically what he's telling in the how do you say,
Statement?
in the thing you just read. I forgot the word, sorry.
Statement.
Statement.
Yeah, statement. Thank you. And he basically that he just didn't want to be like a public figure anymore, and he wants just to live his life happily in exile.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
You know,
I didn't expect that, honestly, but I think it's a very respectful decision, and he's very happy with that. And the important thing is that he is at peace with it, and that he is trying to take care of himself. He was not in a good shape, and well, he was really worried about his health and about everything around him. And I think after these past weeks, he looks really good, and he's very optimistic, and he looks very happy.
good. That's all we can really ask for, I guess. I mean, and Nat, thank you just for looking after him and making sure that he's where he needs to be and that he's getting what he needs to get and all of that stuff. You know, it's really cool of you to do that.
Thank you. Well, I lost my dad in February this year, and it's funny because I got used to taking care of like someone, and then my dad died, and it's been great that we are friends, and that he allowed me to take care of him like in the way I can, and that I can make sure that he's healthy.
And I guaranteed he's not missing any meals.
No, and that place is beautiful, by the way. That's a really nice spot, and I look, man, you should be able to basically drop off grid after putting in fucking almost 40 years and almost a decade of those 40 years on the run. Like, he got asylum. He should asyle. You know? I mean,
Yeah.
fucking, that's what it's for. It wasn't for, okay, now that I'm a citizen of a new country, let's go fuck shit up until they kick me out of this place. Like, he should be able to find some peace and to enjoy that peace.
Absolutely.
He's done his time in the trenches. He needs to relax now.
And I'll share the link to his website too, so you can look through a lot of the documentaries that he's featured in. I think you can actually find links to his books on there as well. So I'll go and drop those into chat, because he's done incredible things, even just in the last decade with his work with Anonymous, if not going back the full 40 years. And I don't even know all of the history behind him.
Yeah, I didn't know either a lot of things, because I haven't read his books. He gave me 2 copies of signed for me, and he's like, you better read them. And today he asked, he's like, have you read the books? And I was like, no, I haven't read them. I'm so sorry. Like,
He's gonna ask for a full book report.
I know, and I treat him like a friend. You know, it's not like, for me, it's not like a celebrity, or even, you know, the story that when we met last year in the Million Mask March that I organized here in Mexico City, I didn't know who he was. I just thought it was like a American living here or whatever, and I didn't know like how big he was and how important he was. So I just treated him like a regular person from the beginning. Like, we became friends.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm glad he has you, for sure.
So could you talk a little bit about the fundraiser that's being organized for him?
Yes, so he was not in a very good health state, and so I told him that it would be good to raise money to help him. At the beginning, he was not very optimistic. He said that, of course, there are a lot of causes that need maybe more help, or a lot of people that need more help. And I told him, like, let's give it a try, and let's see if we can raise some money for medicines and treatments and all that. And then he was thinking about it for a couple of days, and then he said, okay, you do it. And then I didn't know about the statement. It was a surprise tweet for me. He didn't tell me before that. We talked about it before, but then we wrote together some things about the fundraising, and then he told me to launch it, and then like I'm really happy because we started getting donations like right away. And because it's dollars, it's more pesos here, so it's a good amount of money so far. We still need help, but he's really happy so far about the quantity of the donations we've received. Mainly he worries about the dog food. But I'm like, okay, the dog food is covered, so worry about the medical expenses, not the dog food.
Of course he's worried about dog food first.
Yeah. It's like they're his babies, so he's like he has a song for them, and he's like a great dad for the dogs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you organizing that, because it was one of those things that it was very, very like panic mode when we didn't know what was going on, and when his sister had gotten in contact with us originally. So it's my deepest appreciation and admiration go out to you for reaching out to him and doing all of the things that you've done personally to be able to assist him.
Thank you.
I'm still waiting for you to wear your cape, Nat.
No, it's I mean, I think I don't think it's such a big thing. I don't feel like it's such a big thing. It's help a friend, and I think, I mean, I can say you guys all here would do the same thing. I have no doubt about that. So we would always help a friend. And I know
it's really family. It's family, really.
It's family. And I think it's really difficult when you are, it must be really difficult if you are in a country that you don't know anyone, or you don't have your family close to you, or close friends, or, I mean, anything can happen and you don't have anyone to call. And I can empathize with that. And I think that's mainly the reason I insisted that he should let me help him, and luckily he did. So I think he was really not sure at the beginning. He doesn't want to feel like he's a burden, and so I have been repeating to him that he's not, that he's a friend, and that he knows that I consider him family, so he can consider me family too.
Has his sister been able to go and visit him at all?
No, she's not here. So
yeah,
he's just here. I think it's difficult to make a visit. So,
well, especially now with COVID. I mean, traveling is a nightmare. I mean, it's always a nightmare, but it's even worse now.
Well, I don't know how it's coming here to Mexico. We always joke that you don't even need a passport, so I don't even know how to. That's not true, but we say like there are no laws in the border, so I don't really know how difficult it is for you to travel here, because for us we need a visa, and you need to pray when you go to get your visa, so you get the visa. So I don't know if it's really difficult for Americans to come here. I mean, it was for him, but I don't know if for friends to come here.
No, it really isn't. If you're flying, you should probably bring a passport. They're not going to let you on the plane without it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know you need a passport, but that's
buddy of mine. I mean, you could, if you're crossing and if you're in the right car, you don't necessarily, but you know.
Yeah, I think it's the same. Like I've gone to the States by car, walking, and by plane. And I was, last time I went to El Paso with a very nice car, so even the officer was like, "Oh yeah, come in, welcome." And I was like, "Really, you're not going to ask anything, to check the luggage, anything?" And they were like, "No, welcome to America." And I was like, "Okay, thank you." I'm always like a little nervous when I go. I'm going in November, so.
I get nervous here too, not all the time. All the time. I'm gonna sidetrack here real quick. Have we all seen what's going on in Philadelphia over the last day?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry. No,
I haven't.
So they shot another black man, and there's more protests and chaos, and
cops getting ran over, protesters getting ran over, National Guard called in.
Yeah. It's brutal.
Like,
it's Whitney Webb. Whitney Webb. It's Whitney Webb.
So if you haven't watched the interview that I gave with Whitney Webb from Sunday, you should watch that. She basically predicted this in Philly. She did not say, okay, so the police are going to shoot a black man who may or may not be mentally ill, who may or may not have had a knife. She didn't say that. But she did say that Philadelphia was where some incredibly insane shit was going to pop off before Election Day, and to keep your eye on it. And literally the next day, this craziness happens. There's the Philadelphia police went and bought a bunch of explosives and a number of other things. There's a receipt for it on Whitney's Twitter. I would look for an article in Last American Vagabond or Unlimited Hangout very, very, very soon. In the meantime, go watch that show. It's titled No Brain Left Unbroken for a reason. Because Whitney starts out by saying, I broke my own brain. And
Which
then
honestly made me feel so much better about my own life, because every time she speaks, she breaks my brain. So she finally broke her own brain, and now I feel better.
Yeah. And then she immediately proceeded to tell us about the stuff in Philly, and then the conversation got weird. and intense.
It was an excellent show, and people need to go watch it for sure.
I've had multiple different people who have no reason whatsoever to blow smoke up my ass say that was more than likely the most important conversation that was going on the internet at that particular time, that particular day.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Which has very little to do with me, by the way. I want to make that perfectly clear.
But it does have everything to do with Glory.
Everything to do with Glory and everything to do with Whitney. I just host the show.
And I read on Twitter that you invited Andy Worthington to your show.
Yeah, he was on Saturday. It was fantastic. Juan Passarelli was on with this as well. It was a great talk.
Yeah.
I'm trying to follow up with Andy to get him on the other show. And you know, wild out over there. But yeah, that was fantastic, and thank you for helping make sure that happened.
I really hope I read your tweet that you're inviting him, and I think he had a really good time, and I think he will accept, and I look forward to seeing him in your show, because he knows I'm a big fan, and I've been translating his articles for I think 4 years. So we keep in touch all the time, and I was really, really happy I really enjoyed the vigil last Saturday with him. It was really awesome.
Yeah, and Juan is freaking awesome. I love that guy.
Yeah, Juan, he's really, really nice guy.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I always have a good time talking to him.
Yeah, so on Saturday, I wasn't on the vigil, and Steve been talking about it. I actually went to the Trump rally in Circleville, Ohio, which is about like 3 hours south of where I am. Because we had talked on the vigil a whole bunch about going there and doing that and engaging with Trump supporters like that. And it was the weirdest thing. I mean, not really weird anymore, but just experiencing like the hardcore level of cognitive dissonance that people have with what's happening in the world, who possesses power, and then why things are the way that they are. And talking to Trump supporters on an issue-specific basis, it was very much like, oh no, I support Julian too, and President Trump, once he's reelected, he'll let him go. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if you've been.
Why is he waiting? Like, why did he? So then, why did he have him arrested? Why is he?
So it's a big swamp, Misty. It's a big swamp, and draining it takes about 4 years just to get the paperwork filed. Okay, so there's a 4-year permit process, and then after that, you got to start looking around for people who are certified swamp draining technicians, and then you've got to like make sure you've got non-disclosure agreements and contract that you yourself can get out of at any time, but they are opted into permanently. And then you've got to square everything away with your legal team, because you're not going to pay the people that you contracted to drain the swamp, because historically, as Donald Trump, paying your contractors is not something that you do. So a lot of planning, has gone into the prep work for drip. But yeah, it's about a 4-year process just to get up and going, and then nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, like, Donald Trump. With all due respect to Trump supporters, like why would they think that he's the savior of the situation with Julian? Like, I try not to engage in discussions with them in the groups or something, but I don't understand why they are convinced that Trump is going to save Julian.
Well, liberals had the exact same theory about Bill Clinton and about Barack Obama. They were like, second term, baby, we're getting the legal weed, we're getting health care, and we're getting fucking everything. It's all gonna happen. And you gotta vote the guy. And then the second term, he did fucking legal propaganda and kicked a bunch of people out of their homes and ran out of bombs in Syria and fucking just all kinds of horrific shit. Standing Rock, the second term, for the people who are watching that may be Trump supporters, which, by the way, we love you. We do. We're trying to get you out of the partisan mindset here. This is a post-partisan thing that we're doing here. The second term is when the establishment has no fucks to give, and when the deep state has no fucks to give. So an increase in draconian, authoritarian, regular citizen punishing legislation comes down the pipeline, as well as the creation of several new pipelines. They come down the pipeline too. The second term is not when you get everything that you wanted out of the guy that you elected to buck the system. That's when the system goes, well, bend over because we all got sandpaper condoms.
Yeah, so I mean, is that a thing? Because here in Mexico, we don't luckily have second terms because we have 6 long years of presidency. But like Obama did really worse in the second term. Like, he won the bloody Nobel Prize, I think it was in the first term, and then he got like really, really worse in the second one. So
the reason that happens is that in the first term, they're still campaigning. They're still trying to get elected. And so they have to kind of play nice and at least pay lip service to some people to get reelected. And then once they're reelected for their second term, they can't get reelected again. So then they're out of fucks and they just do whatever they want.
But Trump hasn't been playing very nice for years.
Well, but he's very good at convincing his base that he is playing nice.
And he doesn't have to really do anything. He has to say things.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter whether he means the things that he says. But as long as you've got people who think there's a guy in Washington, D.C. that's sticking it to the libs, like millions of idiots are going to pull the lever or, you know, vote for that guy just based solely off of the optics of him being a dick.
Like you said, Steve, it's the same way with liberals, though. I mean, it's this that Obama's our guy. He's nice. Like he's working for us. He's, you know, fighting for us. Like, and it's not based on anything in reality. It's just they want to believe that it's this cognitive dissonance where people need a hero. They need a savior, and they'll invent one. And they'll excuse a lot of things to maintain the appearance and the belief that that guy is that guy.
The craziest thing, right? So there was a BLM protest there that was holding like Biden signs and BLM and Medicare for all, and like nothing that makes sense, like nothing that actually like maintains the same pattern of like anti-authoritarianism, because you can't put Biden next to BLM because he wrote the crime bills. But anyways, you have them on one side of the street, and then you have the Trump supporters on the other, and they're literally just yelling back and forth at each other about how the other person's person is a pedophile. And I'm just like, you're both right. Like, can we pause and just realize that you're both correct? Like, just the point that we can agree on, like everyone in this crowd hates pedophiles. Who are you going to vote for? Like, what?
My pedophile's better than your pedophile.
Well, at least my pedophile didn't rip off a cancer charity. Oh, wait. Yes, Joe Biden did rip off a cancer charity. And so did Trump.
Speaking of Biden and Trump supporters, did you guys see the dance-off video?
Oh, God, what?
If you haven't seen the dance-off video, please. Well, maybe not, because it's painful. But there's a video of some Biden supporters, like, you know, it wasn't the Pete Buttigieg dance, but it's like it's like a flash mob or whatever. And then there's Trump supporters standing across from them, just like holding their Trump flag, staring at them like, what the fuck is going on? And it's amazing. It's so funny. It's the best thing. It's so awkward.
I'll have to hate myself a little bit later, and
it's honestly it's awful, but it's also awesome.
I'll tell you this, man. There was a tweet that came out right after fucking little CIA Pete dropped out, and it was some chick doing the high hope dance, but like breaking down in tears. And oh my God, it was the funniest thing, dude. Because and I'm not laughing at someone who was actually having a breakdown. Like, this was a setup. It was a bit that she was doing. But oh man, it was just it. Right
Liberals
there.
are awful.
Right there.
They're awful.
Little rat-faced CIA bastard.
Oh.
Does anyone remember like 6 months ago when the CIA stole Iowa?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, have people forgot that, or is that still like in the front of the minds of everyone fighting
It's
for
not
election?
in the front of the minds of anybody. Most people have moved on to, we have to vote Biden. Trump's bad. Like, nobody's. But I mean, do you blame them? Bernie Sanders doesn't even talk about it. So I mean, why?
We didn't talk about it then.
No. I mean, it's you know. Dude, the more he talks, the more I hate him. Like, he is. Oh, the absolute fucking worst. He's the worst. He's tweeting out shit about how we're in the middle of a pandemic and we need Medicare for all. And I'm like, dude, you dropped the fuck out of the race so that you could go stump for the guy who straight up said out loud on national TV that if Medicare for all came across his desk, he would veto it. And he said that in the middle of a pandemic. So shut up. You have no credibility left, my friend. None.
Bernie's like, I want one more committee chairmanship.
Ugh.
Okay, so there's a question in the chat. Can someone clarify what was said a few minutes ago about explosive receipts in Philly? Yeah, let me go pull that up.
I was actually looking for those, but I didn't want to not be on the vigil while I was scrolling Twitter.
Yeah, I can't. Okay, so I don't have my ADHD meds, and so it's hard enough for me to even like focus on what I'm talking about. So if I'm ignoring the chat, fam, I'm sorry. I'm really not trying to. I really am.
Well, I have like 900 moderators on the channel, and at least
I know, but I like to engage
a handful
with them.
of them know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah,
so
but
that's how this shit happens. What the fuck? Where did it go?
I'm not super chatty today, but I'm keeping an eye on it for questions.
Yeah, I don't like to think that they. Okay, Jack says we got you. Thanks, Jack. I just don't like ignoring them. But even when I have my meds, I'm terrible at keeping up with the chat while I'm hosting. So it's going to be even worse today. And I'm going to be all over the place. Maybe you've already noticed.
It's like second breakfast, Missy.
It is like second breakfast. And if anybody missed my Twitter feed last night, it's a hot mess. And I was in a mood.
So it posted sideways to her Twitter, and I'm not gonna take the image out of context and save it and flip it. I'm gonna let you guys look at it. Explosives products, explosives, grenades, accessories, and supplies. This is contracts.philadelphia.gov, City of Philadelphia website. Responses due October 27th. Posted
What
by.
does that mean, Steve? What does responses do?
That means they've got to deliver them.
Oh, okay.
The response. There was somebody, I believe, in this thread that also had a different and better picture. Let me see if I can't find it. I'll take it off of this.
Well, I know I'm there.
I might have to go to my notifications for that.
Is that going to be the new thing? Like they're just going to leave pallets of explosives around the city for people to start hucking?
They've graduated from, yeah, I was going to say they graduated from bricks.
Yep, and they had to take
Well, they were also using flashbangs in somewhere, and then they were also, somebody was using fireworks, and there was, I don't know that it was ever confirmed, but there was, a lot of people were saying that it was cops that were using those.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, seriously, when I saw that on my Twitter feed, I about crapped my pants. I was like, holy shit, Whitney just said this. Like, she just said this. My brain broke all over again. So I'm like double broken brain.
I read it before Whitney even picked it up, and I was like, is this related? It was really late. And I was like, is she right already? God damn it. And I just went to sleep, and then I woke up and saw her post. I was like, oh, God damn it.
Well, and then also CNN put out a tweet, something about we're facing a dark winter. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, they just straight up said dark winter.
Yeah. And they said it in the debate, man, like multiple times.
I know.
That was trippy.
But now it's like they're doing it even more. Like CNN's putting out tweets, and it's like they're like very covertly like, oh, we're facing a dark winter with COVID and the flu. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, it's getting weird out there, y'all.
So how are things in Mexico with coronavirus? Nat, like what's the overall state of like just, I guess, the situation, to not try to spin the question one way or the other?
Well, the international media are really criticizing the government's way to handle the pandemic, and the president still not wearing a mask. I mean, besides all the, I know there are people against the masks and all that, but his message has been saying that he's protected by religious stamps, and so he doesn't want to put a mask on. And we are over 80,000 deaths here. It got a point that we were like third in the world of deaths. So international media has been criticizing López Obrador a lot, but they are still trying to manipulate the people and saying that there's nothing wrong happening here. So it's really creepy, I think, because today the governor of the Mexico City, she tested positive, but supposedly or something. And so she announced it, and this guy keeps not like, he's not still not wearing a mask. And they meet together every day in his office, that it's like a really beautiful palace or whatever. And so many people are going there for these morning meetings that he has at 6 in the morning every day. It's ridiculous, but he keeps laughing and telling people that everything is okay. So supposedly we are still in like partial lockdown. We have to wear masks outside everywhere, like going to the stores and to the supermarkets and everywhere. But there are no medicines, and he's just like Trump saying that he bought like 16 no 116 million vaccines to give away freely next March. Of course, I mean, it's ridiculous to promise that. We are 130 million people, and he publicly speaks against people that has money. So his message of like giving free the vaccines for these people is like contrary to what his general message for the people is. So it's really, for me, it's really creepy to. I don't listen to him because he can hardly speak Spanish, but I read what he says on Twitter, and it really makes me really crazy. You know, I don't like him. But
I couldn't tell, Nat. I could not tell.
I try. I mean, I know I don't try to like him, but I try to listen to this. Is like the health person, secretary of health, and it's like crazy here. It's like that's why I said like luckily we don't have 2 terms here in Mexico, so it's just 4 years to go.
So, AMLO's the president on there, right? If I remember right. And he's one of the international leaders that early on had come out and supported Julian.
Yep.
And amongst, I believe it was Lula in Brazil as well that had spoken up, and of course Correa from Ecuador. Is there any other world leaders that I'm missing? As far as like South American presidents or former presidents that have spoken up in support of him?
Well, I honestly don't think so, because I think I would be aware of that. Lula Silva has been really outspoken, and he's a president, ex-president that was really loved by people. And the thing is, I know that here or internationally, it's even Julian's mom tweeted to him thanking him for his support. But the thing I've been complaining about all these months is that he only mentioned him once, not the trial, not anything else. So I don't think it was. I think it would be nicer if his posture was the same, and maybe he mentions him not daily but more times, and he was just like, okay. The thing is, I really think this guy is not really. I think he's kind of crazy though. So I really think he just woke up one day and said, okay, free Julian, and this is important. But here in Mexico, many journalists are being killed by the government, and he's been censoring the opposing media. So it's not coherent of his message, you know.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah,
because we don't hear a whole lot about murdered journalists in Mexico.
Well, it's not just this government. It's sadly, it's a really common situation in all the governments in the past. With the how do you say ambient, like really different types of journalists, they get murdered here horribly. Like they're leaving their houses and it's like 1,000 bullets to their car, or they get kidnapped and then it's like a really terrible situation that has not become better with this government. It's not lowered the number of deaths of journalists. And Lopez Obrador, he has threatened, like on TV, on live, media that oppose or criticize him, laughing. He's like, I'm going after you, or you just shut up, and you shouldn't say this. Or he just banned a magazine that criticized him terribly, and he just got them in trouble, and he tried to take him out of circulation. So he's censoring media here.
Well, fuck. I mean, no, it's just it's this march towards nothing but talking points and a think tank wish list and softball questions from Access Journalism, and I'm not going to fucking lay down and take it. I'm
No.
not. Fuck.
But that you're exactly right. That's why we're doing what we're doing. That's why we keep yelling about it every day. People still are not listening. This is not a game.
No,
this is
media here are still not talking about Julian. It's like only two, like the newspaper that Julian chose to be his media partner. Sorry, here it's called La Jornada. Like really, once in a while they mention something about Julian and Aristegui. That is a really courageous. She's like an amazing woman, and she's make awkward questions to important people about Julian, and she's been really outspoken. But the rest of the independent journalists or the media here, the mainstream media, they haven't even mentioned him or covered the trial or anything. Like, it's really terrible, because I keep asking for people like, do you know someone in the media that I can talk to? Or do you have like a connection with a journalist that I can talk to? And I tweet them and I try to contact them, and I read the news every day, and they are quiet about Julian. So this is very frustrating for me, because I can't possibly understand, in a country that gets journalists killed like often and terribly and censored and all that, why are they not talking about Julian?
Well, I mean, he's being held right now in the UK, and the UK media doesn't mention him. And then they put out, I don't know if you guys have seen their tweets, praising journalism, and we have to save journalism and protect journalism. And it's unbelievable the balls it takes to put something like that out when you're prosecuting or when you're getting ready to extradite Julian Assange.
Yeah, they are like, we wouldn't dare to censor journalism. And you're like, dude, you have him in a maximum security prison being tortured, and he looks terrible and he can't even speak, and you go and make this statement about free press and respect to the journalists and all that, and it's terrible.
It's
really
unbelievable.
Didn't
Crazy.
Didn't Pompeo say something to that effect recently? You're muted,
Yes.
Steve.
Oh my God.
What did he say?
Steve, you're muted.
Mike Pompeo went off about protecting journalism. I wish I could find it.
It was on World Press Freedom Day.
Yes.
I thought there was another one recently.
Maybe.
I remember seeing it. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, was this like a cynical statement or anything? Like,
no, he was what's the word I'm looking for? Well, bullshitting, but yeah. I was trying, like, posturing maybe, or basically it's just platitudes. He's just, that guy, he's fucking evil little awful.
Yes, he is.
Try to find it.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not having any luck pulling it up, but
yeah, he's horrible.
You know what I will try to find, though, is that reporter who handed him a bag of dog food.
I was thinking about that. I didn't know if I would bring it up, though.
Italian journalist, right?
So just to frame it while Steve's getting it pulled up here, because it'll be very fun.
We won't be able to play the audio.
I don't think there really is any audio to it. It was like a faraway video. But there was Mike Pompeo was going around the world doing his sleazy stuff. And there was an Italian journalist who took it upon herself to give Mike Pompeo a present. And she handed him a bag of dog food. And she said, if you eat this 3 times a day, you might become as loyal and trustworthy as a dog, or something like that.
So you can learn to be honest, trustworthy, even if not good at being a human being, then learn to be a dog. Yeah.
Badass.
There's the reporter handing him dog food, telling him what's up, and
that guy in the middle's like, please get the fuck out of here.
And now you can leave. And okay, now we're making you leave. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, who is she? Bravo.
right?
Yeah.
What is her name? Do we know her name?
Try and find out.
I don't know how I missed that.
I just I don't have a name.
It was reported somewhere. I don't remember who it is.
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
It was good stuff though.
I think we had a call to action about the dog food event to go and like drive by slam Mike Pompeo with bags of dog food virtually, like on Twitter.
It's like the beautiful shoe moment, but in a lower level. But
I still say they needed an Abulita with some La Chancla to hit that guy. His ducking skills were too
World
good.
Press Freedom Day one. So Mike Pompeo said, a free and independent media is indispensable to a vibrant, functioning democracy. On World Press Freedom Day 2019, we reaffirm our commitment to protecting the safety and freedom for members of the press. The State Department will continue to work tirelessly to advance press freedom. Fuck you.
was this after Julian was arrested?
Yeah, this was May 3rd, 2019.
What an idiot.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yep.
Yeah, it was shortly. It was like about a month after Julian got arrested, or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stones on that guy.
Ugh.
Gigantic blob of satanic jello.
I still think it's funny that he makes people try to Photoshop his chins. That cracks me up.
What?
I had not heard this one.
There's a picture of him. I think it's his official picture, like his little class photo, his little school headshot or whatever. But you can tell it's a terrible Photoshop job where they've like tried to like minimize his 94 chins, and it's like you can tell it's poorly done, but it's really funny. Oh yeah, it is. It's his Twitter avatar. You can tell.
Okay.
Like you can see it on his shirt collar where they've tried to like minimize. Like they did a very bad job. I can't believe he made that his avatar. What a turd. He's funny.
Do we want to get into the witness statement?
Yeah, we should.
We could totally do that.
Oh my God. That's a terrible Photoshop job.
Right? See, I told you it's bad. It's really bad. Everybody go look and make fun of Mike Pompeo.
I gotta look now.
Now go seriously. Go look. It's really great. Like you can see it on his collar. It's so bad.
Here, I'm gonna pull it up. So
It's so funny.
Unfortunately, I can't make it bigger.
You can see like right there on his collar.
But yeah,
right.
They put a fake chin on top of his chin. Like they took someone else's double chin, but not quadruple chin, and
it looks like his neck had a skin graft.
Wow, that's an awful picture.
Right, you can even
what
see
it looks
the
like
coloration as it goes into the saggy old man wrinkle.
Like they didn't even blend it right. It's just like a skin toned smear across his neck.
And people called him out for it. Like I saw people on Twitter being like, "Oh my God, he had somebody Photoshop his chins, and he made it his avatar." Okay, dude, be about it.
I don't even like fat shaming, but I make an exception for that guy.
He's Mike Pompeo. You know, I don't feel bad about making fun of Mike Pompeo in any way, shape, or form.
Same. He's evil enough where I'm going to pick at him for anything.
So Monica Del Mestre is in my chat saying Olabini's still stuck in Ecuador. I saw a tweet from Olabini just a couple of days ago.
It's a huge thread.
Yeah, it really is. I'll throw the link to it into the chat and post the link into Jitsi so it can get shared around. But yeah, he did give a significant and substantial update on his situation just a couple of days ago.
It's a lot of background, and then gives an update on where his case stands as of now. So anybody who's interested in finding out more about that, which I recommend that you do, yeah, I tweeted it out, and then I don't know if his Twitter is it still free Olabeni? Is that still his Twitter?
Let me check. No, it's at Olabini.
It's Olabeni. Okay. Oh, that's right. It's free Jeremy Hammond.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull that one up too.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a huge thread and it's very informative, and then it does give an update to his case. So people should check that out for sure.
And
I found out recently he was a core developer on something I used a lot for work years ago. I was like, oh, crazy. Like, had no clue.
So yeah, this was yesterday. I have amazing news. Jeremy will be released to a halfway house come mid-November. And then yeah, we've got. Oh, look, there's Misty.
Hi, me.
Jeremy will have restrictions once released. Please stay tuned for more information on that. And yeah, but oh my God, man! After everything that Jeremy Hammond's been through and been subjected to, again, for being fucking used by the federal government in a fucking sting operation that they set up, that they paid for, that they put in, you know, time and resources for. And Jeremy Hammond is the person who does jail time over it and then gets dragged out of Nebraska and thrown into fucking Alexandria Detention Center until the WikiLeaks grand jury got just, they were like, okay, well, we're done. Because they got what they needed out of Sabu and they got what they needed out of Siggy, a little psycho pedo fuck. So they didn't need to squeeze Jeremy Hammond or Chelsea Manning anymore because they felt like they had enough material from those two witnesses, cooperating witnesses, to go ahead and move forward with their bullshit, superseding indictment. That's the word I was looking for. But yeah, very, very good news on Jeremy's front. Really, like, I'm sure the halfway house they're gonna stick him in is gonna suck. I'm sure it is. You're muted, Andrew.
Better than jail, maybe.
Yeah, no, way better than prison for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a step in the right direction. Hopefully, he's only there for a short amount of time and can fucking try to get some of his life back, man. He's been locked up for far too long. Again, for basically being the federal government's fall guy.
You want me to bring up the statement?
Yeah, if we could dig into that. I would like to, this is a production thing, but just at some point on the vigil, go over some oldest stuff that he brought out, because I was just reading through some of it, and it's just good.
Oh, God damn it. Okay, and are we sharing these, or?
No, I've got it up.
Okay, so I'll jump right in then, and we can kind of switch off. And this is a deconstruction at this point, these slides, I believe, all deal with a deconstruction of an argument the prosecution put forward based off of a marvelous work of fiction penned by assistant what? Oh God, what's his official title?
Assistant Attorney General, I think.
Assistant
right?
AG, that's right. Yeah, Kronberg. I want to call him Dennis, but I know that's not his first name. At any rate, at paragraph 87, Mr. Kronberg states that inmates in administrative segregation are able to speak to one another through the doors and windows of their cells. While this is technically true, it is practically impossible. In 1X ADSEG, the cell doors are made of thick steel, and the windows are a transparent thick plexiglass material with no slots or holes. I have tried to speak to my clients through these doors, and it is very difficult, even when standing several inches away. I find it implausible that inmates could really communicate in this way unless they constantly screamed at loud volumes. I would routinely have to ask for a deputy sheriff to open the cell's food tray slot in order to be able to speak with a client. Next slide, please. In my opinion, 1X ADSEG unit is essentially the same as solitary confinement. Additionally, the court is likely to defer to the jail staff on the proper conditions in which to house your client. Therefore, the U.S. District Court is unlikely to order any change to what the jail determines is appropriate should Mr. Assange try to challenge these conditions. And just for a little bit of background here, because I know we sort of jumped right into it, Yancey Ellis was one of the defendants that the defense called to basically to deconstruct the prosecution's argument, a series of arguments surrounding the fantasy that American prisons are this luxury getaway, and that Julian Assange in a supermax would be just ridiculously comfortable and well seen to and well taken care of.
It's
And
basically a resort, Steve. I mean,
yeah, that's
bingo.
absolutely how they were describing it.
And
They
Yancey,
play cricket, right, or something. They said like that.
Basically, yeah, like they well, and they had arts and crafts and
Yeah, like
I'm not kidding, man.
like
This
really
this
some
was
prior.
part of the fucking hearing. They're like, oh, they've got 13-inch TVs that they could watch. It's practically a fucking bungalow in the freaking with ocean views. Like just nonsense.
the reason Yancey's testimony was so important too, is because he, for I believe 7 years or a decade or something like that, was a public defender working for the court system in the Eastern District of Virginia, defending people.
it's only 4 years, 2011 to 2015.
Yeah. And then I believe now still owns his own private practice out there, representing defendants in the Eastern District.
Yeah, so he has visited the jails frequently. He has clients that are in these jails. He's very well versed on the conditions within them.
Oh god damn it, where'd it go?
Do you need me to jump in?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
We are on
The third one.
Okay, so the likelihood of Mr. Assange being subjected to ADSEG or other regime involving effectively solitary confinement. I have no direct knowledge of the procedures that the Alexandria Sheriff's Office uses to determine which defendants to place in the ADSEG unit. However, the Alexandria Sheriff sometimes places high-profile defendants in protective custody. The ADSEG unit is one of the few places in the Alexandria jail to do that. Additionally, based on my experience, the Alexandria Sheriff would not put a high-profile defendant such as Mr. Assange in the general population. In my opinion, this would present the Sheriff's Office with security concerns with regards to maintaining a disciplined and orderly environment inside the jail. An inmate like Mr. Assange would generate a lot of interest, both positive and negative, from other inmates, and there would probably be a concern for his safety. I don't think anybody would be surprised by that. They do that with any high-profile prisoner. I mean, like a Chris Watts or a whatever, they always put those people in protective custody because in jail, those are people who garner attention, good and bad, and it could put a lot of people in danger. So
yeah, but because they're criminals and Julian isn't. So, I mean, I can understand. I just read that Chris Watts was moved because of threats to his life, or I just know if I'm misinformed about like Ted Kaczynski being there or something, but these guys are murderers, and yeah, Julian is just a journalist doing his job. I don't understand why. I mean, and we know what they did to Chelsea, and isn't it the same place that Julian would be in?
Yes.
I mean, it was published, all the torture that Chelsea endured during the first years that she was jailed, right?
Yes, very
So
much.
And
it's not
Julian would
like, what's
actually
the
be
point of denying that it's solitary confinement, you know? Sorry.
Julian would actually be kept in harsher situations than Chelsea.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
I know,
something
I
that
know.
they had,
Mhm.
yeah, had talked about in court, that administrative segregation only applies to male inmates. So
Yeah.
she was held in a less restrictive but still controlled environment inside of ADC.
I was
So, and
I was
let's
talking
make
about
a
the
let's
first
make a
years.
couple of distinctions
Okay.
here, because ADC is the Alexandria Detention Center, and ADX is ADX Florence, the
In
Supermax prison.
Colorado.
However, throughout the trial, there were a number of times when the prosecution was forced to admit that yes, Julian Assange would be held at the Alexandria Detention Center, like while the trial was going on, or pre-trial,
Pre-trial for sure, yes.
all that kind of stuff, and then transferred to the Supermax, and that's where the Oklahoma City bomber, I believe,
Yeah,
is.
I read about that.
Yeah.
But isn't it, sorry, the same shit?
Yeah.
Like the same terrible situation, like the
Yeah.
conditions in one place or the other? No,
Yeah.
isn't like extreme.
His conditions inside of Belmarsh prison are actually worse than what you would have under special administrative measures. The COVID restrictions placed on inmates in Belmarsh, Julian didn't even get to meet with his attorneys for 6 months while he was inside the prison, leading up to his court trial, where the first time he got to meet in person with them was that time before court. So the restrictions that he's facing now are absolutely heinous, let alone what the U.S. will figure out to do once he's moved over here.
Yep. All right, we want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, there's a few more we gotta go through.
Okay, so this next one is just basically a description of the ADSEG and the unit and the daily regime. So the ADSEG unit is a small area that contains approximately 4 to 6 ADSEG cells. Each cell is a single occupancy cell, less than approximately 50 square feet. Contains a sleeping area, a small sink, and a toilet. Meals are typically taken inside the inmate's cell. Typically, inmates in ADSEG are permitted 1 to 2 hours a day outside of their cell. This is typically spent in the common area of the ADSEG unit, which may be about twice the square footage. Based on my experience, only one inmate in the ADSEG unit is permitted to be outside of his cell at one time. There is limited interaction with other ADSEG inmates during this time because their doors and food tray slots are closed. At points in the past, there has been a television or an exercise bike in the common area of the ADSEG unit, but not consistently. However, at certain points when I visited clients there, the common area contained nothing. There is no outside recreational or exercise area at the Alexandria jail, and I do not recall there being any windows in the ADSEG unit. Finally, there are limited programs available at the Alexandria jail, like high school equivalency, low-level college, sober living, etc., but these programs are typically not available to ADSEG inmates. So all of these arts and crafts that they're trying to pretend like Julian would have access to is bullshit.
Yeah, that was one of the more preposterous moments out of a just cavalcade of shit fuckery.
Yeah, I remember when they were talking about that, and I'm like picturing in my head like a bunch of inmates making macaroni necklaces or something. Like, what? So stupid.
Yeah.
The fucked up part and the most difficult part about it is that Kronberg document is almost worth going paragraph by paragraph and debunking, just because of the level.
No, we're
of
gonna do it. I hope that we can do it with Marjorie Cohn, because I'm trying to make that happen.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, in the works. Hope, fingers, toes, penises crossed, everyone.
You can cross your penis?
I can.
Special.
Good Lord.
On that note, shall I continue with the next
Please
slide?
do. Please
Okay.
do. I need to shut up.
Okay, so the effect, this is now, he's going to be talking about the effect of ADSEG on the ability to prepare a legal defense. Being housed in the ADSEG unit will not affect Mr. Assange's ability to meet with his attorneys. The Alexandria Sheriff's Office will allow his attorneys to meet with him at any time during professional visiting hours. However, It may affect Mr. Assange's ability to assist in his defense. He will not be permitted to access the internet or computer equipment of any kind. There is a small law library at the Alexandria jail, but I am not sure if ADSEG inmates have access to it. Additionally, based on my experience, it is more difficult to make legal phone calls to the ADSEG unit. Typically, attorneys can make legal phone calls to a single attorney phone, which is present in each unit of the jail. In general population units, a random inmate will answer the phone call and call for a desired inmate. However, that is not always possible in the ADSEG unit because the inmates are not continuously out of their cells to answer the phone. Making a call to this unit involves getting a deputy sheriff to enter the unit and make the desired inmate available. So his lawyers will be able to visit him apparently regularly, maybe.
Well, okay, that's if he's not immediately placed under special administrative measures.
Right.
Which the court tried to dance around and the prosecution tried to dance around, but it's been made pretty crystal clear that he would be subjected to special administrative measures. And that means when he does meet with his attorney, an FBI agent will be present in the room for those conversations.
And again, like at Belmarsh, he will not be able to participate in his own defense. He will not have access to the internet or legal documents or any of those things. So, not being able to... Oh, go ahead.
No, and as long as, special administrative measures are already legal here, but the treatment that Julian's received at Belmarsh goes above and beyond all measures of UK law. Yeah. They flat out violated every law, convention, charter, what have you, in terms of how they deal with prisoners and how certain types of prisoners, like, bond prisoners or remand prisoners, are allowed to be kept behind bars. Both of those things, the bail thing and the remand thing, UK just threw it right out the fucking window. Go ahead.
They try to make it look like, okay, he can meet with his lawyers. And yeah, even Gitmo detainees can meet with their lawyers. And the other times that they're not with their lawyers, then they are being tortured. So it's not like, okay, that's nice. He's going to be able to meet with his lawyers. It's not like a better way to look with the situation that he's facing, right?
Mm-hmm. And that was something that they even mentioned in court too, like in the courtroom themselves. That was one of the things that the prosecution tried to pull out, where they said, well, Julian's going to have a plethora of lawyers. Isn't he going to be able just to meet with them? And that's where Mr. Ellis described that there's no special treatment when you're in the Alexandria Detention Center, that when you're an ADSEG or a special administrative measures prisoner, there's no bending the rules. There's no taking it easy. It just is what it is. But to the point that Misty made, one of the big things under ADSEG too is we lose the ability to know what's actually going on with Julian's trial if he's placed under special administrative measures. If he's brought here and he's placed under that level of lockdown, the only information allowed to come out about his case is from the judge herself or himself, whoever's the judge. They get to make the ruling to say, this is allowed to be out. This is public information about Julian's situation. And if a friend or a family member or an attorney wants to meet with Julian, if they release information to the public, they can go to jail.
So no, there's not going to be any news about what he's going through if he's placed there?
The only people that are allowed to comment on it are the judge and maybe one of the prosecutors.
His family wouldn't even be able to speak on it.
Yeah. And if someone came and visited him and then left and not even talking about what Julian looked like or the treatment that he was going through, but made statements about the case, they could be subjected to prosecution. It's fucking crazy. It is. This is the same legal system that told Chelsea Manning, as long as we think more fines and more jail time will break you, we can keep you as long as we want. It's not, you have to prove to us that this sort of coercive and punitive punishment isn't affecting you before we'll let you go. And they still never did. they shut down the fucking grand jury. That's why Chelsea Manning's out. Not because it was obvious from day fucking one that they weren't going to break her. So they tried because they can, because there's legal cover for it. And it just fucking infuriates me.
Yeah. Bastards. Does somebody else want to jump in, or shall I continue? Or
yeah, I got it.
Okay. Before we jump into this, I just want, this is, he's going to be talking here about the physical health and mental health services, I guess, that are available. So I just want everybody to keep in mind the medical testimony that we heard during the trial. Just keep that in mind, what Julian has been going through, his mental state, all of those things. Keep that in mind while we're talking about this.
So, Ellis says, to my knowledge, there are no permanent doctors on staff at the Alexandria jail. There are nurses and perhaps a physician's assistant. I just lost my place on staff. Most health services are provided by contracting health providers, not employees of the sheriff's office. This is the case for physical, dental, and mental health services. For mental health, the only time when an inmate was regularly monitored by a psychiatrist was when the inmate was involuntarily committed to a state hospital, which first required that the inmate was a serious physical danger to himself or others. In that situation, the inmate was generally sent to a state hospital to be quote unquote rehabilitated, which usually involved medication, sometimes forcibly administered. For individuals that became suicidal, but not due to diagnosed mental health reasons, the Alexandria jail usually imposed several administrative measures, more frequent monitoring, placement in a suicide prevention unit that immobilized the arms away from the body, removing shoestrings and sheets, etc. These individuals had access to counselors, but not increased access to psychiatric services. Moving on to the next slide, because it's still part of this one. The jail provides medical care through a contracting agency, so there are no medical staff employed by the jail. An inmate's daily access to mental health care is likely limited to nurses and social workers. I have had many clients who decompensated rapidly without seeing a doctor, to the point of urinating or defecating in their cells, not in a toilet, which were not cleaned for several hours or longer. If an inmate decompensates to the point of being perceived to be a danger to himself or others, he would likely be sent to a different prison for daily psychiatric services. In the federal system, inmates are often sent to FMC Butner. Also, inmates are sometimes forcibly medicated at facilities like Butner. If an inmate decompensates to the point that he or she is assessed as not being able to stand trial and the inmate will not take medication, the U.S. attorney can move the court to allow forcible medication by injection, which is often approved. Do we want to...
This is just a horror show.
Yeah.
Like, it's a shame that there's not more people focusing on Julian's case, especially right now when there's such a big pushback against law enforcement and the judicial system and the legal process. And
don't confuse a color revolution with actual awareness.
I mean, that's fair. But like, just that one slide lays out how someone can be forcefully injected with chemicals against their will while in detention, wanting to commit suicide, having to defecate on themselves.
You know, I'm sorry for mentioning Gitmo again, but after reading what they've done to these men, I mean, this is like kind of this, like similar situations, and I can't believe it's legal to do that. I mean, the Gitmo detainees they were injected with drugs they didn't know what they were, and you know, and it's practically torture what Julian is facing there in the U.S.
Oh, 100%. It is
absolutely torture.
And
No.
I understand that in Guantanamo, the Geneva Convention is not applied because Bush said so, but what about, I mean, in the territory of the United States? Why is this legal?
The issue with the Geneva Convention is it largely only applies to like cross-state engagements, and then there's like precedent built by the way other nations behave. Like if you see the way that Israel deals with dissident populations, like the way they deal with the Palestinians, that's increasingly to the point what we're seeing, if not even nearly as bad, with the police interaction with U.S. protesters. So it's something that the international community just kind of gives a nod through the way they allow other countries to behave to justify what's acceptable within a nation's borders, basically.
Yeah, I know, but it takes just one idiot to say, I think it doesn't apply here.
Mm-hmm. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Especially.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
No, you can keep going.
No, I was just gonna keep going through the statements. We've only got 2 left. So additionally, there will likely be very limited interaction with other people. Mr. Assange will see the deputy sheriffs many times a day, but with almost no verbal interaction. In ADSEG, if on his 1 to 2 hour break, he may attempt to speak with other inmates through their cell doors, but as stated above, that type of communication is very difficult. Some of my clients have told me that they received breaks in the ADSEG late at night when other inmates were sleeping. Currently, there is no outside visitation by the public at the ADC due to the coronavirus. Attorneys can speak to their clients on the attorney phone line during 3 windows, 8 to 10:45, 1 to 4, and what the fuck is 7 to 10. And limited in-person visitation is begun using end-to-end video conferencing. However, since the attorney phone is in the common area, there must be a deputy available to give the inmate access if inside ADSEG and the inmate is in his cell. I want to come back to this, but I want to read the next one because this is just fucking ridiculous. The procedures for inmates who are suicidal are also limited. These inmates are placed in a green security suit, the turtle suit, that limits their ability to carry out self-harm or tasks like brushing one's teeth, and are checked on more frequently than other inmates. The inmate typically remains in the turtle suit until the period of suicide watch is over. The level of psychiatric care for suicidal inmates is the same as above. If the inmate is deemed a danger to himself, he would be sent to a different facility for daily psychiatric care. Additionally, inmates on suicide watch are not permitted shoestrings, pens, pencils, or other items that might be used for self-harm. I want to come back to the first, or the slide we read before that real quick.
There's
a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Just the use of that phone and that video, there's no attorney-client privilege there. Like, no, if you're meeting with someone over a video link, it is recorded somewhere. It is being processed and stored through some medium that allows law enforcement or whatever 3-letter agencies to access that. So that is a complete and basic erosion of attorney-client privilege.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing that bothers me the most, is that this is legitimate solitary confinement. You are completely isolated, and you may see the guards a few times a day, but they're trained to not speak to you. They're told to not interact with you. So you have no contact with other human beings. And given that he's already been in that situation for, what is it now, like 20 months or something crazy, or 18 months or whatever it is, it's torture. Like, I don't know how this solitary confinement shit is allowed. That is torture. So the fact that he's already mentally unwell, he's dealing with a lot, he's almost certainly dealing with PTSD and all of these other things. And then they're going to throw him in further I mean, we joke about it, but he's literally going to be thrown into a hole, like just tossed into a hole to be forgotten about. We won't ever hear anything about how he's doing or what's going on or any of those things. And that's terrifying. That should terrify everybody.
It's the Hague. Or not the Hague. It's the fucking work camps. It's concentrate. It's literally like the totality of fascism seen around the aspect of what it can do to one individual for fighting back. While all the mechanisms are in place to be used against every other individual that wants to see change in society.
And like Matt said earlier, he's not a criminal. Like, he's not a terrorist. He didn't kill anybody. He didn't bomb anybody or hurt anybody. He's an intellectual. He's a guy who, likes truth. And, it's insane to me that people don't see how absurd this is. I mean, this is a guy who the only thing that he did is publish the truth. And, you may be uncomfortable with that truth, but he's never had to redact anything everything. He has 100% record of accuracy. So to me, that's invaluable. And you can be mad at the information that he releases and it can make you uncomfortable. It should make you uncomfortable, but he doesn't belong in these circumstances. That's crazy. I mean, that no human being really, in my opinion, I mean, even if you're a terrorist or whatever, that's like insane treatment of a human. I don't get why this is allowed.
Yeah, I agree with you. Not even guilty people should be treated that way. But especially not Julian. He's like an example for a lot of people. He's admirable. I know his mother doesn't like us calling him a hero, but for me, he's a hero, and he's like a world changer. He doesn't deserve anything close to this.
Well, Christine said to go easy on the hero talk because it takes away his humanity.
I know. And
but no, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I tend to agree with that, Nat. I do. It's just when that allows for like sort of like a cult of martyrdom to get built up around him. And
I think people him as a superhero, and then it's like, oh, well, he can handle this, and he'll be fine, and he can. No, he's still human. Yeah, he's a tough son of a bitch, no question. But he's not superhuman. He's not, Superman or whatever. He's just a dude. He's flesh and blood. This is torture. You're torturing a human being.
The whole point of what they've done to him for the last 10 years is to break him
systematically.
If they can't legally murder him in front of our eyes, they're going to do it through special administrative measures and ADX Florence. Like, that's just that's flat out where it's at, and that's why we need everyone who's watching right now to fucking raise absolute hell about
rage.
And that doesn't mean that doesn't mean go start a Twitter fight. That means the next time that we're holding an event, fucking turn up,
or have an event in your town.
Or have an event where you are.
Yeah, go start your own event. Go put up yellow ribbons. Go put up some signs. Go write a letter to your editor in your local newspaper. Go to your local whatever they're called, city council meetings. I don't know why my brain just blanked out.
Newspaper ads too. Paula's had good luck with that. I think it was Paula.
Newspaper. I'm actually going to do that because the Columbus Dispatch pissed me off the other day. So I'm gonna be writing a letter to their editor because they pissed me off. I don't normally read a lot of local news because it's garbage, but
it really is.
It really is, and the Columbus Dispatch is particularly terrible. Like, they're bootlicking cop apologist pieces of shit. So. But yeah, I'm going to be writing a letter to their editor, and I'm going to be nice-ish. Don't worry, ish.
With all due respect, you got to make sure that's in there somewhere.
I will.
You cannot call them a twat waffle.
Please.
You can do it like the East Coast way, where you start off a sentence with no disrespect, but you
Can I
know,
call him a douche nozzle, douche canoe, twat
Yeah.
rocket? No, none of those. Not good.
I love that. With all due respect, I use it all the time to say something disrespectful.
I'm about to tell you to go to hell now. Yeah.
Well, actually, the time that I did use it, I really didn't tell somebody to go to hell. Like, I was nice. I was actually nice that time. So, look where that got me. So much for
Blocked
me.
by Paula Jean Swearingen.
Yeah. She did text me to ask me to donate some money to her campaign.
If you text, so when they text you that, if you text them asking something, they'll actually get back to you, like with a policy.
No, I texted them back, and I was like, can you tell me why I should donate to somebody who threw a temper tantrum on Twitter and blocked me when I asked her to speak for Assange? And nobody responded.
Well, I mean, that's fair, but I was I was asking, like, hey,
why are you picking me apart?
Can you send me some statements that she has on Julian? And every time they continually try to send the same thing.
Right.
Where it's her saying Bernie Sanders was correct when he said journalists shouldn't be prosecuted under the Espionage Act. And then I always say it's the U.S. position that Julian is not a journalist. So even that statement, if taken in full context of U.S. law, doesn't even apply to Julian.
Didn't they change their position, and now they decided that, okay, he's a journalist, but that doesn't matter because we can just do whatever the fuck we want, and if you're a journalist, we can come get you. It doesn't matter.
Well, the Kronberg document, like the official Assistant Attorney General document, says that he's not a journalist.
Yeah. And that was the opening salvo.
Which doesn't matter. You don't have to be a journalist. Like, that's a profession. Journalism is not a right. Speech and press and sharing information and receiving it is the right.
I'm still baffled at how he's subject to our laws but isn't protected by our rights. That seems pretty fucked up, but what do I know?
Right. Well, it's just, the United States trying to get more global authority.
Yeah.
And if we can get more global authority to control what people see or what they hear, man, you've just about got the propaganda market cornered. And now you got to come after people's food supplies.
And Victor says it really well, that why would you allow the U.S. to impose a law about journalism if you aren't willing to allow the U.S. to impose a law about abortion on your country or any other topic that you care about? Because that's the legal precedent that's getting set here, is domestic U.S. citizen law is now applying to anyone. And if it's taken in its fullest perspective, they can almost apply any law they want to anyone in any country, even more than just the Espionage Act.
I have a question. Maybe it's a stupid one, but isn't the Espionage Act only for U.S. citizens? Like, I know, like, Snowden has been charged on he can be charged under the Espionage Act, and Chelsea and Daniel Ellsberg, but why is it allowed for Julian to be charged under the
This is brand new.
I know it's stupid, but I'm not.
No, it's not, because when I do get the opportunity to talk to people like face to face about it, this is one of the first things that they ask. Like, does U.S. or does this happen often, or has this ever happened before? And the answer is no, it hasn't. The U.S. has never sought to extradite someone who isn't a U.S. citizen for publishing things. There have been a couple of times where we've had people extradited because there was evidence that they committed an actual crime.
Yeah, like
but no, not with having a website that prints embarrassing things about your country. Yeah, it's brand new. Brand new.
Okay, but with the citizenship, like the nationality, like, why is he being charged under the Espionage Act if he's not an American?
That's a great question, Nat. That's a great question. I wish I knew the answer to that. He's an Australian journalist who had full Ecuadorian citizenship, who was in London, who the United States decided that we have power over. It's very bizarre. And that's why this case is, I mean, there are many reasons why this case is so critical, but that's a huge part of it, because this gives the United States carte blanche. They can come get anywhere, anytime, for any reason. It doesn't matter who you are. If you print something or tweet something or whatever, they can come get you. And they can call you a journalist or a terrorist, and they can prosecute you under the Espionage Act, or they can, I mean, this is terrifying. It really is. Like it freaks me out to think that this is, I mean, it's such a cliche term, but the slippery slope, this is like a straight ice sheet of bullshit. I mean, this is no good. It's bad for all of us.
And I want to make the point too, like, to reiterate that most of the people that I've talked to in person about this thought he was an American. Like, they know so little about him. And I'm like, no, this guy is a citizen of another country. He's didn't do anything here. He's not a spy. That's what that shit's supposed to be for.
WikiLeaks isn't an American corporation. It's never been based in the United States. Like, the fact that the United States thinks that it has jurisdiction over the entire fucking world is ridiculous.
Over the ability for the entire world to use the medium of media.
Yeah.
Like that's the statement they're ultimately making with this, is the US has the territorial right over all of your media sphere globally. And if somebody prints something that we don't like, we can have that person brought to the United States so that we can torture them to death. Either way. And I really hope this falls our way, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to see that it does fall our way. But the United States has already won a significant victory in the chilling effect that this has had on other journalists, on the self-censorship that takes place throughout indie media, throughout every fucking outlet, except for just a small handful of us that go, okay, well, I can't put this out because I'll lose my YouTube channel, or my subscriber count might go down, or I won't get that AdSense revenue if I put Julian Assange's name in the title of something. And like, these are, I mean, shit. We talk about it fairly frequently, but it's so goddamn frustrating, because this is critical information that we're sharing with people every single time we do this. It is vital to the future of investigative journalism. It is vital to the future of a free press, and to have an independent media.
Sorry.
No. That just balks at covering this, or runs away from covering this.
Well, what pisses me off is they all talk about how Trump's a fascist. We got to fight fascism. If you want to fucking fight fascism, here's your fight. Here is your fight, because this is fascism. This isn't like Trump baby fascism. This is fascism, like controlling the ability to disseminate information and controlling what you're allowed to see, what you can and cannot learn, the information you're allowed to ingest. I mean, that is what fascists do. He who controls the narrative controls the world. And this is it. So if you want to fight fascism, like, I see a lot of people, like, pounding on their chest like they're going to fight fascism, and yet they won't even mention Julian Assange. Well, go fuck yourself. You're not fighting fascism.
Yeah, and people still don't believe it can be anyone anywhere in the world. Like, people sometimes outside the US is like, it's not about us, and it's about everyone.
I mean, we're trying.
We're doing our best.
I really am. Somebody tweeted at me today, at Sarcasm Stardust, free Assange, please. And I'm like, no pressure. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying. Sorry. I mean, I'm doing what I can. What are you doing? Why are you tweeting at me telling me it's on me? What the F? Yeah. It's exhausting.
It's on everyone. We're not going to get it done.
I know. That's what's frustrating is like, I mean, we need more people involved. We need and the people who are involved, we need to get louder. And I mean, I know it's like so dumb to say, but we need all hands on deck. Literally, everybody, all the people.
Action, the number 4 Assange.com/Discord.
Steve.
It's in the description as well.
Man, it's not my clothes.
Yeah, Steve doesn't do the hands. But we are pushing 11. Do we want to close, or is there anything else we want to talk about?
Yeah, we can go ahead and wrap.
Cool. I will kick it over to you first, Nat, if you want to give some final thoughts and let people know where they can find you.
Oh, you're muted, Nat. Oh, and Nat's links are also in the description.
Sorry?
Oh, could you give some final thoughts and let people know where to find you?
Yes. Follow me on my Facebook page, Mexico con Julian. Not Mexico with Julian. It's Mexico con Julian, please. And the other one is a fake page. And on my Twitter, please, also. I'm really sorry. Dogs are running around here. And
I was wondering what that was. I can hear the
It's all
toenails
good.
tapping. I was wondering what that
I'm
was.
really
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That's hilarious.
It's all right. I have 3. I get it.
My
But
cat usually photo or video bombs me and jumps on my chair, so I get it. I totally get it.
And I want to thank everybody for watching. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zigman. You can follow us on Twitter at action_4Assange. Our website, action4Assange.com. We do have a bunch of weeks, like probably at least 20 weeks calls to actions up there. I think it goes back. We started doing it towards like the end of the 40th weeks. So check those out because there is a ton of stuff that you can still get involved in on there, even though we didn't put one out this week. And yeah, don't forget to donate to Commander X if you're interested in supporting him in that way.
Yes, thank you so much for donating. I had a thingy of the donation during this transmission. So thank you so much.
Excellent.
And thank you for inviting me.
Oh
again.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, thank you for joining
love
us.
you all.
Thank you, Nat.
Thank you, Nat.
Thank you.
Until next time.
So yeah, I'm Misty Winston. You can find me on Twitter at Sarcasm Stardust. I also have another show with my friend Jesse Zerwell. It's called Facts on the Ground. We actually just published our interview with Kevin Gastola that we did earlier today, and he was excellent. So check that out. And thanks to Nat for coming on the show and for everything that you're doing for X. We love you for it. You have a beautiful heart, and we're so grateful to you for taking care of him when he needs somebody. Thanks to my co-host. Thanks to Sleepy Josh for the amazing graphics. Those are dope as fuck. And thanks to everybody in the chat.
My name's Steve Poikinen. I host a show called Slow News Day, which you should find on the Rockfin before you go look for it anywhere else. But if you're looking for it anywhere else, I'm on DLive and Library and Odyssey and also YouTube. Until they take it away, which might be any freaking day now. So do go find Slow News Day on other platforms and you know, help build those up because YouTube is absolutely not our future. Again, if you haven't seen that episode with Whitney from Sunday, you should go see that. You really should, especially in light of all of the crap that's going on in Philly right now, because you'll get to put names and faces to the people that are pulling the strings on this one. Thank you guys for watching. We love you. We do. You're fucking awesome. Thank you to my co-hosts and to Nat for being with us again. It's always wonderful when you're around. To the former Commander X, you're my friend, Chris, and you always will be. Dude, thank you for your service. Just want to make sure you're all right, you know.
Likewise.
And thanks to Sleepy Josh on the 1s and 2s and for coming through with all of the graphics for tonight. That was fucking solid. We will see you Saturday. Good luck to us all. Oh, it's Halloween on Saturday. Expect something. Good luck to us all.